right, bitches. Derek Hartley here, along with Romaine Patterson, Mr. Sam, our producer, Greg the Cupcake. And we're kicking off this hour with the director and producer of the documentary House of Numbers. It's screening here in New York City at the Quad Cinemas, September 4th through the 10th, but has been playing all over the country. And for more information on the film and a full schedule of screenings, you can go online to houseofnumbers.com. With us here in studio, it's director Brent Leung and producer David Syner. Brent, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And David, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Nice to have you. Now, tell us, Brent, why don't you tell us the subject of the documentary, House of Numbers?
Well, it's a documentary that looks into the HIV/AIDS epidemic. One of the things that a lot of the public doesn't really realize is there's a lot of debate amongst the scientific community about HIV and AIDS. And there's a lot of questions that have been posed that we don't have answers to. So there's a lot of issues the film brings up that we really need to address, and the scientific community really needs to debate about. So the film is sort of acting as hopefully a catalyst for more discussion about the epidemic.
Okay, and what is the debate?
Well,
actually, what I want to ask you before we get into the debate, actually, because you directed the documentary, you put it together and everything. So, what was it that spurred you into doing the documentary in the first place, and what was it that you were looking at, and what did you discover along the way?
Well, it actually started here in New York City. It was in a summer, and I was in a diner, and this guy just started talking to me, saying these weird, crazy things like, HIV doesn't exist and HIV doesn't cause AIDS. And I thought the guy was crazy. But what he said piqued my interest. So I went home and I started doing some research on this, and what I discovered was there was a lot of very prominent people in the scientific community that actually espoused this hypothesis. And it extended to journalists, clinicians, activists. So this led me down a track of just doing years and years of research. And that's ultimately why I made the film.
Okay. And then what did you discover then out of that?
Well, I was doing interviews with, and these are the most foremost scientists on the planet, I began to discover there's a lot of disagreement about how HIV potentially leads to immune deficiency disease, the process in which we test people, the accuracy of the global HIV statistics, and even treatment.
So you've talked to all of these lead scientists and throughout the world. So, and you did this documentary. What conclusions were you personally left with when it was all said and done?